Thank you for watching Ben Television. I'm so glad you are watching, and we are the best in Europe. This program is called You Decide. We give you information, we give you facts, and then we give you analysis. Ben Television. I'm so glad you are watching, and we are the best in Europe. And we have plenty of things to discuss today. How about Nigeria at 60 years of independence? We want to look at historical aspects of that independence, and then we want to look at the developments happened in the wonderful country of Nigeria. They always call us the giant of Africa. Nobody has disputed that. Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Some people say those sleeping giant. Whatever, whether it's sleeping or waking, we want to have a word, we want to have a look into it. The other giant on the other side of the river is the United States, and they had their presidential debate only last night. We want to have a peep so that a giant could look into a giant face to face. But I have in the studio, as usual, my colleagues, Otumba Bodeo Seni, you are welcome to the program. Otumba, you need to do something.
What do you want me to do?
Yes, just to say hello to the people. I welcome you to the program.
I said, good morning, Dr. Johnson. Good morning to our viewers all over the world.
Now you have unmuted. I'm so glad. And you are looking presidential. Are you in the race?
The way things are looking, I have my chief of staff is Gosnazu. My other advisor is Natu Wako. And I might probably be coming to you, so don't worry.
The president of Oduduwa Republic.
Well, no, I'll be running.
Gentlemen, let me go straight to business this morning. Natu Yako, I thank God that you are not part of those running for the either Oduduwa or Nigeria. I don't know, but you are welcome to the program, Nat.
Good morning and thank you.
Godson Azu, you're welcome to the program as well.
Thank you, Doc. It's my great pleasure, and good morning to all viewers everywhere you are this moment.
Yes, I'm so glad here, and these guys, they're making me laugh. Well, we are operating from London, so let's start from London. It appears that people say the coronavirus is getting more intelligent than the British cabinet ministers. Anytime they try to keep the coronavirus inside, it comes out more intelligent. For instance, the coronavirus could differentiate between wedding and funeral, so that at a wedding ceremony, only 15 will be allowed. Otherwise, the 16th person will cause trouble. But at a funeral, it's like funeral. So they allowed 30 people to be at a funeral. People could not work out the logic why 30 should be crowded in a church for a funeral and 15 not in the same church for a wedding. So they said the logic is not known. Again, people say that this coronavirus will not attack people in the pub and in the restaurant before 10, but after 10, it will attack people. So why will the government be giving such directives, especially when we see all the restaurants packed up till 10 p.m. and not having social distancing? Yet they all rush to the bus or to the train and then no social distancing. And people believe that Boris Johnson government has got it wrong in not giving timing and differences. But I'm just to present. Some said he even missed what he ought to say yesterday. He was given the wrong information. And so this coronavirus continues being elusive, and governments are running after it, and they've not been able to cage it. Or most of the undergraduates are under lock and key as we speak. But thank God they'll be released for Christmas. And so everything is just upside down by one invisible coronavirus. Let me just hear from my colleagues whether you've experienced some of these up and down of government trying to catch this coronavirus. Otuma, what's your immediate take?
Thank you. From all look of things, it looks like COVID-19 doesn't like anything sweet, anything good. Because when you make the analogy of only 15 people can go to a wedding ceremony and 30 can go to funeral, it then clearly says to me that coronavirus, I don't know whether it's he or she, we have to, I don't know. But then, any which way, coronavirus doesn't like good thing. And now, on a more serious note, I think it has also successfully created a kind of a confusion among the scientists, not to even talk of the politicians, because the politicians are waiting for the advice of the scientists to tell them what to do and what not to do. Then the third aspect that bothers me is that we, the people ourselves, how much do we take in? How much do we know how and when to comply? Because when I remember 2 or 3 days ago, I was in the market, and then the market was full to the brim. And apart from me and maybe 2 or 3 other people who are using their mask, maybe I'm afraid of whatever. But the point here is we are all confused. We don't know what to do. Coronavirus is creating different kind of problem for humanity. And finally, it's kind of a flu now that the whole world, the 7-point-something billion, know about it, and they don't know exactly what to do about it. So the scientists are trying, and I want to applaud them for that.
Nat, we were told that 1 million people have died worldwide, and majority of them came from the US. Why US, where they're supposed to be highly technological? And is there any reason why the Africans refuse to die? Africans don't like dying from viruses, do they?
Anyway, the issue of the coronavirus, especially in America, initially Trump and some of his officials were living denial. They didn't even believe that the virus was in town. They just, especially Trump, the way some of the words he used and his comments, and he waved the thing away with his hand. And he told the world that the corona will go away. But when it didn't go away, it was becoming too late to handle the surge properly, until so many people died, especially in New York City, one of the most populated cities in the US. People died, and then Trump woke up from his slumber and scamming around to see what measures they can introduce to stem the tide of the virus, but it was definitely too late. And even as we speak, the US still has the highest number of positive cases of coronavirus, and may be followed by India by the number of deaths. India has hit more than 1 million. But again, when you take the population of 1.3 billion, maybe the effect is not too bad for India. And again, back to US, Donald Trump also tried to use the coronavirus issue into a political campaign thing. But again, I think that didn't work, and that is not working. We hope at the end of the day, the number of vaccines, which and other remedies which America has commandeered from other parts of the world, maybe it might help America.
Thank you very much, Nat. Godson, in Nigeria, they believe that Corona 19 should no longer be called Corona 19. They call it Corona 419. The reason is because the people are being asked to test themselves before they enter Nigeria. And when they enter Nigeria, they pay 50,000 naira. And at times the money disappears on the way. and there have been so many stories over social media. But yesterday, the task group was trying to say how people could retrieve their money. They admitted that money was lost in the transit. How can the Nigerian government make life easier for people in anything at all? But for this COVID-19 that now people in Nigeria are calling it COVID 419, what would you say?
Well, it's unfortunate the situation that Nigerians are facing, both home and abroad, with regards to the corona pandemic and the outcomes of it, which basically the Nigerian government has not had a very strong foothold on how to manage and how to sustain the viability of their policy approach on controlling the virus spreading and the infections and the rate at which people rely on the government trust. Basically, it's just like what's happening here in the UK. I think a lot of people kind of lost trust in what the government policy approach to maintaining and sustaining a progressive management structure with regards to the COVID spread in the UK. And many of us were kind of anticipating that the government should be a bit more stringent in the way they manage public interactions and engagements with regards to the asymptomatic people within the society who may not show any sign of the virus, but may be carrying it somehow or the other when they meet people around in the public. Basically, there is what I call a conflict of policy agenda here, because both the government and the scientific or the medical advisors are in conflict of opinions on how to approach these issues, and this has not been going down well with the Boris government in terms of matching orders with some tenacity. Because if you're given some conditions that are variants in regards to how to manage this situation, you are just keeping people in a very confused state where they are not sure if the government knows what they are doing or they are not. And if you ask people to wear masks all the time, and when you get to train stations, you get to tube stations, you get to bus stations, and people are not really adhering to that, and you don't have a mechanism to control people to ensure that they put those masks on in public places, that is another. I mean, this COVID should be able to let government understand the principle of liberal order has to be amended when it comes to terms of life and death. The liberal state of the British and American system of government has made it very stringent or very hard for the government to police people with regards to a particular pandemic or crisis, in order to ensure that people adhere to the rules, adheres to the order. Because if the government has put in place enforcement personnel at the train station, I work in the train with the train companies, and then we kind of ask, why is it that people are still entering the train station without their mask? People are entering the tube without their mask. People are entering the trains without their mask. In a congested train underground, in a contested train overground, people are still not wearing masks. There are no enforcement officers at the train stations. The London underground and overground takes over 5 million to 10 million travelers every day. So you can imagine how much infections will be transmitted if out of these 5 to 10 million.
Wait a minute, Gussie. Maybe if the government can be giving free masks at the train stations, maybe it will make life better. Because all of a sudden, everybody has to budget a mask for the wife, mask for the husband, mask for the children because they have to go to school. I mean, where does that budget come from? I've been having problems buying mask upon mask upon mask upon mask upon mask. Suddenly, we are buying masks instead of food. And second, and I want to say that you have to take it into consideration. Some masks cost £5, so maybe even some more. I mean, we saw the other mask, which was golden, that cost £200,000. So you have to be very careful how much you spend. Not that I'm not advocating masks, but the lifestyle does not just appreciate it being restricted. I mean, look at the lockdown of undergraduates. You don't lock undergraduates down.
Yeah, I know, I understand what you're saying. Just to conclude what I was saying, what I'm trying to put across, I think the government need to the UK government need to re-strategize the way they are managing the situation, because as at this moment, they shouldn't tell us that the hospitals are overburdened, because there's a bit of a control on how the hospitals manage their corona patients and other patients of other illnesses. And it comes to Nigerian sector, the Nigerian issue is a very simple thing. Apart from Russia, Pakistan, and I think one other country, Nigerians are, I think, third or fourth in terms of internet and cyber crimes. Nigerian government should by now know that if they are setting up a platform for people to make payment from anywhere on the name of the government, they should be able to have a very solid cyber security, internet protection on those networks. They cannot give contract to an individual Nigerian who is also gullible, or maybe is indirectly a criminalist in his own way. And then instead of some of the money going to the Nigerian bank account, the government account, he's used a system or a plugin or whatever to divert some of the money to a different account he has created for himself within the same system. Somebody can create 2-3 different accounts on a platform, and money will be going either way. 2-3 go to Nigeria and 1 go to him. 2-3 go to Nigeria and 1 go to him. And by the time you realize the money,
I know people have been complaining seriously, but some said they've been able to make it. Thank you very much, Gustin. Let's go to America. Yesterday was the first presidential debate, and many people found it horrible. Let me start with Otumba. How did you find it? Because I know you love America.
Well, again, like another thing, I'm on both sides. I think hearing from the journalists all over the world, there's a consensus that was the most chaotic debate they've ever seen. And but also some of them are not really surprised in terms of the two contenders. They know very well that one of them is maybe is not really balanced or whatever, and the other one has his cool all the time. So I think it's gotten to a point now where the people just have to go and vote and stop the madness in America. Because as far as I'm concerned, yes, I'm not an American, but all what is going on with the current president is just, I don't think it's many Americans will like it. From yesterday's debate, he did not allow people traditionally that you want to use the opportunity to reach out to the electors, especially for those who have not made up their mind, the undecided ones. But he keep just interjecting his challenger, and the moderator almost got so angry and said, "You know what? Can you please let me do my job?" And he still doesn't get it. He continued to behave like, in fact, a primary school debate will have decided to that level where Donald Trump made himself to know that I don't think he's really going to be. I don't think America should give him another 4 years. I'm sorry. I mean, I hope I'm not going to be mistaken for an American. I'm not.
We want you to enter America, so let's stop there.
So,
Nat,
I will enter if he doesn't win. But if he wins, I'll stay here another 4 years. God willing. So.
like Wole Soyinka. Anyway, Nat.
No, I did not destroy my own password because of him.
Donald Trump got away with it when he had a debate with Hillary Clinton, and right in the eyes of everybody, Donald Trump said, "I will put you into jail, you this criminal woman. I will put you into jail, you this criminal woman." Now is Joe Biden, I guess, has prepared for such a situation, and then it became a cataclysm. It became unprecedented, and nobody wanted to get the lower hand, and in trying to get the upper hand, it became something of a ridicule, especially if we take United States of America as a country to look up to. Right now, we're looking down on it. What's your opinion?
Well, last night's debate was rather unprecedented, unfortunate, and it's sad that in the year 2020, the president of the US and then a contender can use some type of language for the world to hear. I mean, it's very disappointing. And again, Trump has brought down America to the lowest ebb you can think of. And if in those days, American debate, the presidential debates will determine your performance in the debate, will determine who is going to vote for you or who will win. But again, Trump has his type of Americans whom he appeals to, people who use those type of language. We only pray and hope that the handlers of both candidates we sit them down and pull their ears to be more, to have decorum, to be more civil in the next debate, which is likely to look like a town hall meeting. And what comes again to mind, I think America now has to approach Nigeria to send INEC to US to teach them.
Agree with you, Honorable.
How to talk.
He's got into that.
And how to conduct the elections. And I'm very serious about it.
It's not the first time that Nigeria will teach America one or two things. I recall that when Nigeria handled the Ebola crisis effectively and efficiently, the Americans humbled themselves and they sent experts to Nigeria to learn how we dealt with it. Nigerians are good at dealing with viruses. And I think you are right. If they can humble themselves and go to Nigeria and learn how to respect one another, humble and defer to one another, I think that will be good. Did I stop you from saying something, Nat?
I was just also going to add that the way things are going in America. Anyway, China has taken over world leadership when it comes to politics, when it comes to industry, when it comes to commerce, when it comes to trade, because Trump's policy of isolation or American first is just not working. Not working.
Thank you very much. Yes, Godson. Trump 4 years ago said, "I will make America great again." Do you think he has made America great again? And looking at Joe Biden, by the way, he's 77 and Trump 74. These are septuagenarians. They are the age mates of my wonderful Otumba, and some people is anything age? Does anything
it will soon get to you. You soon get there.
Amen. Yes, Godson. So what do you say?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doc. I think I do differ away from what Nat have said. Unfortunately, I am a believer in the evidence and facts that nothing much has changed in terms of the tragedy of world power politics as it is today. U.S. still remains the major world power. They still remain a greater country with the uncertainty of reaction and action in the global world politics and military and even the economy. So there is no way. China is just playing on the surface whatever China is doing doesn't reflect the reality. China is a rogue state. China is a state that is full of undoubtedly records of evidence and facts of things. And so there's no way China is just driving its way into what it thinks is going to be like a global force in the next decade, but that is not really working. Going back to the debate is fundamental about the personalities that are involved. People that know Trump know that that is his characteristics, that is his nature, that is his way. And when you put a debate forward between someone who has a soft power projection and interest to somebody who has a hard power interest and projections, you always be able to understand who is going to outplay the other, outwit the other. This political debate is about having the ability to outwit your opponent, either way that you can do it. And Trump has just shown that he has that capacity, that capability to silence his opponent if the opponent is not able to stand the force of discourse, whether it is intellectual, whether it is by the ability to use words to drive your way through your opponent. Trump has just shown that, has just been able to catapult himself against his opponent. So it depends on either way of the observation, or either way of the analysis, or either way of the audience take of the outcome of the debate. But then what we have to understand is America is still a global force. America is still a country around the world that has to be looked at, their actions and their reactions, as long as Donald Trump is still the president. America is still the policeman of the world to tomorrow. America still have a lot of financial stake globally with a lot of multinational organizations. And isolationism with the American government is one of their foreign policy tactics to prove that if they continue with the way they are going, supporting the world all over the place, and people disrespect America, then it means America is being fooled around by people who takes out of America but gives back not to America. So they used that before the Second World War, and the Western countries went and looked and find every logical way to get them into the Second World War. And since then, they've not looked back so much in going into isolation or within the world politics. But then Trump is now bringing back that agenda. He's bringing back that thought, that idea, that conflict view of American role in the world and the gain of American role in the world. If the financial benefit does not match the expectations, why is America still pumping money, pumping human beings all over the world? If the countries that they are trying to help,
I know that you are trying to make a thesis. Godson, I know you are trying to make a thesis, but I can easily puncture your thesis. Isolationism can never make America the police of the state, or can never have influence. You got to go out there in internationalization of your policies so as to control through influence and not through the guns. But we are not here to discuss international theories. So let me give some of our guests a chance. If you want to say something on the debate of yesterday, please signify by raising up your hand electronically, and I will surely recognize you. I understand we have people from Nigeria watching, and please, if you raise up your hand electronically, it will be easy for me to recognize you. For those of us who have lived in the US before, please, you want to say something, feel free to raise up your hand electronically, and I will recognize you because we want to hear from you. I've visited the USA, but I've never lived there or studied there. And so you will be in a better position to tell us more. Let me invite Mr. Shinyobadi. Yes, hello, sir. Yes, Mr. Shinyobadi Adekombi. You raised up. We can't hear you. You have to
Yes, to
unmute.
unmute.
No, we cannot hear you. You
You
must.
can hear me now?
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I will just stand on the existing protocol, and I would just like to come. I don't know if I'm permitted to come from the angle of conspiracy theorist, because I believe in conspiracy theorists, a bit of it, and it has played out in so many things that American government has been doing over the time. I don't know if I'm permitted to go on with this.
Go on, feel free. Feel free. If we agree with you, we agree. If we disagree with you, we disagree.
Coming from the Donald Trump's debate of yesterday, unfortunately, I didn't see it. I didn't watch it. But just like I've always known, America is a nation that has proven itself over the years that they are the architect of everything that has to do with world power. Now, particularly, I want to hold the issue of security. I want to analyze the issue of security. Everything that has been happening to me boils down to the capacity of a nation to secure itself from the COVID-19 to even America's world power and their position. I think everything is all about security. If I take the issue of COVID-19, to me, you see, we are going into an era, a new norms, a new way of doing things in the world. And America and other few nations at the Security Council of the United Nations are the ones that are on the forefront of pushing all these things. You see, I am a scientist. I studied physics. There is I've never seen any virus up till now that has came out without a science background to it. There is absolutely no virus that has ever came out that is natural. All viruses had always been a laboratory research. So now coming from these, you see, last 2 weeks, there was a meeting that President Muhammadu Buhari was able to partake in. And one of the things he mentioned in his speech to United Nations, I think was it General Assembly or so, I don't know. But he was trying to emphatically state it to the United Nations that Nigeria still have a need to be in the permanent seat of the United Nations. Now, there are so many things that goes on without without Africans having a particular person that has a permanent seat in United Nations Security Council. All these things are the things that plays around the security aspect of the world. So, in another sense, COVID-19 or not COVID-19, it is still an organ of war within powerful nations to muscle some people down and to make some people more powerful. I mean, make some nations more powerful and to make some other nations have no capacity. So all of these things, I'm trying to say that, you see, about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just an example of somebody that the American government, the strong people in America has just stage managed to actually portray to us that you don't really need to have a serious person as your president. You can have anybody, any canary can come as a president, and so far he is presiding over you people. You don't have a say. You see, Donald Trump. I used to know he's a businessman. He has once been in sports and all those things. The kind of America that I used to believe in, or I used to think America is, they are serious-minded people. They don't joke with their leaders. So bringing somebody like Donald Trump, I knew Donald Trump was going to become the president from the first election that he did, because they knew why they are bringing Donald Trump. They just wanted to tell the world that anybody, you can see now that the musicians, Jay-Z and all those people, as time goes on, they will continue to clamor for American president, and one way or the other, one day they will become the president. Now, this same thing will replicate itself in other developing nations like Nigeria. We start seeing music, people that doesn't have
Okay,
any.
I know I've given you, I know I've, Mr. Shiobari, I know I've given you some time, but I want to ask you one question, and I want to go to discuss Nigeria quickly. If you were in positions in the United Nations, if you are representing many of the developed countries in the United Nations, will you sincerely give Nigeria a permanent seat at the UN Security Council? And you have to give me the reasons, because the reason for setting up the Security Council after the Second World War was that the permanent members must have a veto to checkmate one another, and that if as soon as these five people agree, no force on earth could defeat them. And when you look at the kind of people, all of them have nuclear powers, all of them have a lot of technology, all of them have infrastructures, all of them have continuous electricity transportation, all of them have everything that it would take all the powers to be. Nigeria does not appear to have that one. Why should they allow it to be to have a permanent seat when people like Canada are not there? Just in 2 minutes, because I have to go to other things. Yeah.
You see, all the industrialization and power and all those things are secondary. The most important thing is security here. And when we are talking about security, Nigeria is a significant country when it comes to Africa. We have gone on so many peacekeeping in many nations, even when American government cannot even land themselves in one of the African nations that was in deep war. It was African forces, Nigeria inclusive, that went inside to go and soften the place that American peacekeepers
would land
in.
Liberia,
So what are we talking about?
or Sudan? Which one are we talking about? Is it Liberia, Sierra Leone, or Sudan?
I don't want to be. I've forgotten the actual nation now, and I don't want to be racking my brain.
I agree with you. We've been to a few places. But why can't we then stop insecurity in Nigeria if we have to be taken into security council?
Nation has its own particular problem or peculiar problem. America in itself, if you dig deep into America, you see a lot of criminals and many criminal minded people living in America. They have just managed it through media. They've successfully muscled their media to play down what to be projected to the world and what's not to be projected. Unfortunately for Nigeria, Nigeria is not a nation. I can do all this.
Mr. Is for the reason of time that I'll be taking something forward. So please, I'm sorry if I have to just take it forward. It's just because of time, because we have to discuss Nigeria at 60.
Nigeria is a nation.
Let me ask Otumba. You wanted to say something, Otumba, in 30 seconds. Otherwise, we want to discuss Nigeria.
Yes, I just want to disagree with all the contribution was made in terms of world power and world power. Who Donald Trump? You should not forget that this is 2020. Gone are the days where you want to give somebody something. Even if you want to give a dog a meat now, you have to be very respectful. These days, you cannot just ramble those any nation because you are world power. No, do not forget that America is not going to shoot from New York to reach Ethiopia. They need some bridges and so on and so forth. So Donald Trump is just who he is. But then again, he's not helping the structure of America. He's destroying the fabrics of everything America stands for. But my conclusion is this: to people I know, it's going to be an end to world power of America, because they're not going to be world power forever anyway. Thank you.
All right, we have to move on. In 1861, Lagos was colonized, and the British moved in, and they changed their tactics from slavery and slave trading into making people sign treaties. And by 1906, majority part of the place now called Nigeria have signed treaties with the British government. We recall that in 1885/86, there was a Berlin conference that demarcated what all the European countries will gain and Ghana from Africa. no African was at that moment, at that meeting, where Africa was shared, and they did a wrong job of it by cutting tribal groups into different countries. So some Yorubas were cut into Republic of Benin. Hausa was divided among 3 or 4 countries. The Ibibios were cut between Cameroon and Nigeria, and so forth, so on and so forth. And today, we have a country called Nigeria made up of different ethnic groups. Not unusual, but now that has caused the basis of trouble, and constitutional developments have been difficult between 1914 during the amalgamation to 1960 when independence came. We want to look at the historical antecedents of Nigeria and how it has come to disturb the growth and development of Nigeria. I want to call on our in-house researcher to tell us what happened before 1960 and after 1960 that we are finding it difficult to develop rapidly like our forefathers wanted. I recall Nkrumah said, Africa is in a haste.
Yeah, thank you. You have laid down the ground work for the historical development of that territory called Nigeria. We remember that in 1914, precisely January, in Zingeru, a village in Niger State, north central Nigeria, the amalgamation treaty was signed by 6 people. Prominent among them, the then Emir of Kano, the then Sultan of Sokoto, the then Alafin of Oyo, the then Obong of Calabar, and the rest. But they signed it, and it was for a period of 100 years. So if we go by that document, by 2014, the 100 years should have expired, and Nigerians should have had the opportunity of deciding whether to remain as one entity or to go their own way. I think one way or the other, Nigeria was just told you can go on. Now here we started with regions. Regions, we had the Western region headquarters in Ibadan, Northern region, Kaduna as headquarters, Eastern region, Enugu as the headquarters. It was later on that Midwestern region with headquarters in
Benin City.
Benin City was added. So fast on, we had this 1960 independence up to 66. 63 was the declaration of a republic. But we had challenges immediately. The 6 years after independence, we had challenges. We had this national census crisis in 1964 that dragged on until January when there was the coup. The regions were disputing the number of people they had, especially the northern region, where it was alleged that their figures were inflated. And we know it is these figures that have been used to distribute the national resources. And so on the wake of January 15, 1966, we had the first coup led by
Kaduna.
Kaduna. Kaduna was more of a Kaduna boy. Some people even say he spoke Hausa more than Igbo, where he claimed to be from. So that coup of January 66 saw the demise of people like the Sultan of Sokoto, who was the northern region premier. We saw the death of Tafawa Balewa, who was the prime minister, and then in the
Ladoke Akintola, the Western region premier.
Yeah, Western region premier. But in the Eastern region, they didn't even know anything was going on. But history books have told us that because Bishop Macarius of Cyprus was visiting, and the premier wouldn't allow such a thing to happen when we had a dignitary like a head of state visiting. But by the way, that is a story, and the history of Nigeria is really still in progress. July 1966, there was a counter coup led by a captain, either he was captain or major by then, T.Y. Danjuma, Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, who led the coup in Ibadan. He left Lagos to come to Ibadan to supervise a coup. But in the process, he lost control of the coup boys, and you find Igwe Aronsi, who was visiting Western region in Ibadan with his host Adekunle Fajiyu, were taken away and killed. And then that sets space for national crisis. Moving on to 1967, Ojukwu, who was a very senior military officer, two of them were graduates in the military then, Ojukwu and this other man, I forgot his name.
Okay, go on.
And so 1967, the Republic of Biafra was declared as a nation breaking away from Nigeria. And that also created its own crisis. People, especially from the northern region, the eastern regionals, especially the Igbos, were forced to move, to relocate. And so many of them were killed between the north and on their way to the east. Then we had the Civil War. Because of this, we had a civil war that lasted from 1967 to 1970. And thereafter, Gawan, who became head of state after the July 66 crisis, declared that there was no vanquish, no victor. And he declared what we now know as the three and reconciliation. 1975, and all efforts to prepare Nigeria for another democratic dispensation didn't materialize until Gawan was overthrown and Murtala Mohammed took over. Murtala Mohammed had with him Obasanjo as his deputy, but we know that Murtala was assassinated and Obasanjo became head of state. And Obasanjo midwife the country's return to a civil rule in 1979, with Shagari coming in as the president and Nigeria adopting a presidential system of government as opposed to the Westminster parliamentary system, which we adopted from independence. The presidential system meant that we now had an executive president instead of a ceremonial one. We now had a Senate and we had House of Reps, and each state, as of that time, had its own assembly, state assembly, and a state assembly which superintended over the states we had then. But the challenge we started having then that, right, in fact, it was Agu Ironsi who started it. Nigeria was not being operated as a unitary system. The regions had no autonomy. The regions couldn't do anything without going to Lagos by then. And their powers as centers for regional development were eroded until we started from 12 states. Now we have 36 states plus Abuja.
Yeah, that was an intensive structural explanation of Nigeria, and we appreciate you for that.
Yeah,
Now,
just 1 minute to take us to 2023.
go ahead, sir. Go
So
ahead, sir.
we know Obasanjo did between where before Obasanjo came, there were coups and counter coups. From 1979, Obasanjo, we had some other military people coming up. We now had this issue of Abacha, who declared himself, taking over from Shoneka, and Abacha came in, wanted to be president. There was a referendum, and all the political parties of that time had adopted Abacha as their presidential candidate. Automatically, he was going to, if the referendum, he would have won it. Abacha, by God's grace, died mysterious death. Up to today, nobody knows the cause of his. Well, some people know. Some people know the cause of his death. Abacha now had to, naturally, he was no longer there. Absalami came in, and as Absalami was there for 8 to 9 months, he put up a constitution, which I will call Absalami's constitution. It was not the people's constitution, because even the day Olusegun Obasanjo was sworn in as president, they will had Nigeria. But Obasanjo came in years thereafter. Late Umaru Yar'Adua was president, and he had serious health challenges, and he died in office. Then Jonathan took over. Jonathan did 6 years or thereabout, and Jonathan was defeated in an election in 2015, which brought in
Muhammadu Buhari.
Muhammadu Buhari is now the president we have in Nigeria. We're looking forward to 2023. If we can forecast and predict the National Assembly that we have at the moment, and even the Senate, Buhari might try what Obasanjo tried to do to secure a third term by tampering and tinkering with the Constitution. But time will tell.
But that's still a speculation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us the structure of Nigeria that we have stood upon in the last 60 years. I call it structure because you simply delve into how we move from regime to regime. Otuma, many have said that there's nothing much to celebrate in 60 years. Is it because of this structure, the structure of the parliamentary system of government for 6 years, then military centralization of authority for 20-something years, and then we come back to the Fourth Republic and the presidential system, and it's not working? Is that why we don't have development as we ought to, or there are other reasons? Ultimately.
Thank you. Yeah, there's something that says if it's something that is in our system. We as African, but let me lead to Nigeria. When you take it further beyond what Nat has been talking about in terms of our history, that's probably the last 60 years or so. But you take it beyond that, you see that black man has always caused problems, has always inflicted self-injury into ourselves. When we far back, it was 600 years ago, started selling ourselves as slaves to the highest bidder, to the white people. Having said that, I think where we are now, just to continue from where Nat stopped, what concerns me as a Nigerian is isn't that enough time for us to reflect, to sit down, reappraise, readdress, and reassess whether this Nigeria as a project is working or not? And I'm sure majority of Nigerians now say we have endured 60 years of togetherness, and looks like it's only a small portion of the country, plus less than 3 or 4% of some elites who are taking advantage of the teeming millions of other Nigerians. So there is a need that we need to take this particular project to a lab to analyze, to see whether we can continue from where we are. So I wish I could say good things about 60 years 60 years of existence. But for me, the problem I have, like I always say, is I have seen other climb. I've been to other countries and I can see what other countries offer offer their people. So if other country offer their people basic things of life, and we are still struggling 60 years on to offer something similar to basic things which the ordinary people do need, and we still can't get it. So it now begs the question that do we really know what we are doing? What is exactly difficult to provide electricity? What's the problem in generating good roads, Medicare, school, housing, and so on and so forth? All these are things that we're struggling the last 60 years. Continue to heap blame on, oh, is the Western world, oh, is the Southern world, all this kind of thing. These are issues that cannot make me to say, oh, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, yes, it's going to be easy for people who have not departed the shores of Nigeria, because all what you can see is that after 10 years, they give them road. After 10 years, they give them light. After so many years, they're able to send them. Well, these are not good enough for me. So I don't know where to start to say, I want to start celebrating. For me, there's no celebration, because it's just like a farmer who has been toiling the last how many years and is still yet to start reaping anything. He's going to be, if you're angry with himself, he will not be happy with, hello?
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Hello?
We're listening.
Okay, so all this, yeah, okay, somebody was, okay, so all these are issues that I think cannot make me as a person, and I'm sure I'm not alone. When I look at many other Nigerians in diaspora, they find it difficult to start appraising. They find it difficult to start singing song of, oh, wonderful Nigeria. Nigeria, to a great extent, as we speak, is just not working, and that is the more reason why people who are agitating, people who are now saying enough is enough. Let us 60 years of marriage, 60 years of contraption, 60 years of all this thing. It's just not working. Let us sit down and rearrange. Oh, yeah, who knows? I'm not sure whether I'm going to be around another 60 years. Then I can tell you for free that it's high time that we start making a better life. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, so it's better to say, if we sit down now, 60 years is more than enough time, enough period of time for us to find out whether this marriage, this relationship is working or not. And again, like I said, all of us, most of us will agree that it's just not working, because the act of governance in itself is nothing more than to get power from the people and put power back to the people by using the governance system by those basic things of life. Nigerians are not benefiting anything from the last 60 years.
I'll still come back to you, Otumba, yeah, because I know it's a big.
Want to ask a question?
You could spend 2 hours. I know anybody will spend 2 hours to answer that question. So I'll come back to you, and I will get to other colleague of ours. Azu, you are a political scientist, and you know the difference between constitution and constitutionalism. And when you look at the constitutional development of Nigeria from 1914 to 1922, which we normally call the Hugh Clifford Constitution, and then you move on to 1946, the Richard Constitution, and the 51 Constitution came barely 5 years after the Richard's Constitution because of the political problems, which is normally called the John McPherson Constitution. And then even within 3 years, that one broke down, and we come to the 1954 Constitution, normally referred to as Littleton Constitution. But then the challenges of ethnicity came out and we finally landed ourselves in 1960. Please, Azu, recall that in 1953, Anthony Enahoro asked for independence for 1956, and the North said they would go away from the entity called Nigeria. The British waded in and they agreed on a compromise of 1960. Also, Ghana, in the meantime, that was not even doing constitutional development like Nigeria, got their independence in 1957. Between 1960 and 1999, there have been so many attempts to write constitutions. And at a point, there were 3 constitutions that are being sold separately, differently, and yet they were referred to as the 1999 Constitution. Has the problem of Nigeria been a constitutional one, or the problem of executing the rules of the structure in the Constitution, which we call constitutionalism?
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much, Doc. In managing state affair or governing a state as an entity, you require either a written or an unwritten constitution. And these constitutions has to be a collective opinion of the indigenous inhabitants of that particular geopolitical or geometric area of that nation state or that nation. And as such, that gives a belonging to the natural inhabitants, the indigenous inhabitants of that geographical area as a people of that nation. That is what has kept the United States going. That is what has kept the British government going. That's what has kept the French Revolution survival up to date for over 300 years. That has kept many nations. That has kept Switzerland going. That has kept Belgium going. That has kept some other countries going, in Canada and so on. Because people, the indigenous people, made their contribution towards their natural constitution on how they should be governed, on how they should be able to, the obligations they have to be governed, and the obligation they govern have to be governed. And then that has been the case. But coming to Nigeria is a different, peculiar case in the sense that the greatest problem we have in Nigeria is about the indigenous people themselves. We are the biggest problem of our own country because one, we continue from onset to rest our hope and our future on borrowed elements of governance rather than looking inward and taking from within our traditional and cultural elements to build the society that we intend to see and live for our generations to come. That has been the problem. From the Clifford Constitution to the list of constitution in 1999, no indigenous Nigerians contributed any effort as a collective entity to say this is what we want and this is how we want to live. This is why we want to live this way. No, these constitutions have been crafted by few hands who sat somewhere, craft the constitution in the name of the all, without even consulting the all. Clifford Constitution, Richard Constitution, Matheson Constitution, all were constructed and crafted by the British people, and they loaded it over the indigenous people. And because of the indigenous mentality of the people called Nigeria, even before, to be honest to you, people say that Nigeria is 60 years. I say Nigeria is more than 60 years. Nigeria is 106 years. We are only celebrating the freedom. That freedom is not even complete because Nigerians are still enslaved to their own indigenous people who pretend that they have secured freedom for them, but yet they are still enslaved. Somebody said that we are born free. I think it's Abraham Lincoln. We are born free, but yet we are everywhere we are in chains.
That would be Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, thank you very much. He said that we are born free, but everywhere they are in chains, and that is what Nigerians are. We claim to be free, but yet we are in chains. Why? Because We have been bounded by constitutions that are not directly indigenous to the people of Nigeria. We are bounded by constitutions that does not give that absolute civil freedom to the people called Nigeria by name today, because you call it anything you want. Nigeria is still in bondage by constitution elements. And those who crafted the constitution crafted it in that sense in order to keep the Nigerian populace in bondage at the expense of their reality as a people that belongs to a nation state. And I keep saying it, from Zik to Tafa Balewa to Ahmadu Bello to Orizu to Awolowo, to Akitola, to Ajasin, to Bola Ige. All these guys played politics of kleptocratic. They play politics of patrimonialism. They play politics of individualism. They play politics that satisfy their own need and their few clique. Much of them never played politics of the collective agenda of the people called Nigeria, even though we still call ourselves Nigeria. We need to rediscover. And the only way to rediscover, unfortunately, Nat said something that by 2014, Nigeria should have sat together and do a rethink, have a national reflection, have a national debate. By 2014, Nigeria should have gone for baptism, either a Muslim baptism or a Christian baptism, either to rename itself.
But there was a conference. There was a conference raised up by Jonathan 2014, wasn't it? That was a national conference.
That national conference was set up, but at the same time, that national conference was selective and not constructive.
That's correct.
A national conference that is selective cannot represent the full interest of the whole. You need a referendum where people select their own people to represent their interests. They pass their message through the people they send there. That is what you call when Switzerland wanted to create their confederational system of government. They didn't select the republics, the regions in Switzerland sent people to that conference to decide how they can live.
We've done that before. I recall that we had a constituent assembly trying to write constitutions, and people were elected while some people also were selected. We had that before, but with the Nigeria, the government has not.
Anything that was done within the military system to build a constitution system for Nigeria are all vague. They are all wrong. They are not meant for the goodwill of Nigeria. They are not meant for the goodwill. Until Nigerians begin to call themselves back to order, until we begin to ask ourselves, are we really, this union set by Lord Lugard, was it in good faith, or was it for the greater benefit of the British Empire to have a free hand in ruling the entire territory? Or are we really getting it right by asking ourselves that this thing that the British Empire constructed, we that are now living and are aware of the truth and fact, why not we sit down and ask ourselves, is this construct still benefiting our goodwill as a natural people of that territorial entity? Let me not say Nigeria, territorial entity. Are we benefiting from this construct? Because if you build a house and it doesn't suit the taste, you bring the house down and get a new architect to design the taste you want. If you born a child and the child is misbehaving, the day you take him to Catholic Church or Anglican, they baptize him, they rename him a name. Then you look for one biblical name and give him. If his name is Adeshola, you call him Peter. If his name is Bemi, you call him Mary. You change him because of the baptism. You repact. We have to stop this ethnic religious construct that the British brought to Nigeria in the name of constructing Nigeria from north to the southern protectorate and bringing us together in this artificial construct that we have been living for 106 years. And out of that, 60 years of this 106 years,
let me bring other people.
Indigenous people of Nigeria have not been able to think with their knowledge.
Let me bring other people in because we are not the only one with different ethnic groups. But thank you very much for your interjection there. Please, if you are in the Zoom and you want to participate, all you need to do is raise up your hand electronically, and I'll be in a position to recognize you. Well, Nat and Otumba, you've had your brother, Godson. Otumba, I want to ask you a particular question. To what extent have we developed? Because the essence of a country is to develop. And I don't want to come from a biased mind that Nigeria is not developed. That would not be a correct statement. To what extent have we developed? And is it to a small extent or to a large extent or middle of the road, given all the resources we have had? And if not, how can we turn things around? Many people said it's restructuring, and Nat has given us the structure of this country. Is it restructuring? That is, are we going to look towards the National Assembly and say we don't want such structure anymore? Because that will involve restructuring and say, look, all our members, we want to pay them. And then we will look at state assembly and say, in fact, you are too many. Just we want 4 or 5 people to form the legislature in the state assembly instead of paying all sorts of salaries. And then when we talk about restructuring, is that the way we should go? Or let me first of all ask you, how much have we developed? And if not very well, why? How can we resolve it? Otumba. Otumba Bode Oseni.
Yes, you are frozen, so I didn't hear the last. But it's okay. Yeah, the line with the Zoom was frozen for some seconds. Doc, for me, I want to subscribe to all what Godson has said in terms of what we need to have done. We have not done it, and in my presentation earlier on, I said that I find it difficult to share Nigeria that's well done, congratulations, and so on and so forth. Because I have no doubt in my mind that looking at the amount of resources, human resources, natural resources, the amount of many other things, good weather, and so on and so forth, that Nigeria is endowed with, we have not put it together to show Nigerians, not even the world. We need to show ourselves first that I'm happy. Apart from those people who are privileged to have siphoned a substantial part of the money we are talking about, may come out and say, I'm happy. Apart from this, even those who stole so much money, use the money to educate their children. Most of their children here in Europe are not too proud to be a Nigerian. Because why? And what is the simple reason why an average Nigerian doesn't want to be identified as? It's not because of anything. It's because they cannot show basic things to be available for them. I say to my friends and family that I cannot pay £500 anymore to buy a ticket, and people are asking me, what are you going to do in Nigeria? And I will tell them I'm going to suffer. I'm not going to pay £500 to go and suffer in Nigeria for anybody. And these are truth. And then again, like I said, we have all the opportunities. I left Nigeria 50 years ago, and I still look back. One of the reasons why I left Nigeria was to go and further my education in Germany. I lived there many years, and now come back again. It was still the same thing. Even as we speak, it's still the same story. So you need to probably ask me which specific area you want me to talk about. Is it the area that we don't have good roads? Is it the area that we don't have Medicare? Is it the area that our education is lacking, is completely wretched? Is it the area that we don't have housing? Is it the area that we don't have Medicare? All these basic things of life, which an average person do enjoy here, we don't have it. Apart from those who have stolen the money, who are able to build a mansion for themselves, send their children overseas for further education. And also, there are many other areas that at least we should have regulated it. We should have sit ourselves down and find a common ground in solving our problem. Talking about restructuring, I would have loved to say restructuring will have been adopted, will have been considered many years back. But it's because we cannot think too far beyond our nose. We don't know. As far as some people are concerned, exploiting their own people the last 40, 30 years is just a normal game. they want to continue doing that. And Nigerians are now waking up and now saying, enough is enough. We can't continue being subservient to other parts of the country. And hence, almost 31 states of the country are now saying, we want to check out. We want to check out the southern, the middle belt, the south-south, the southwest, and so on and so forth. They're now saying enough is enough. And I agree with them. Because when you look at what is going on from a small segment of the country, taking advantage of a large part of the country, it cannot be acceptable. So really, we have not really achieved minimum. And like I said, minimum, how do you, the indices used to measure countries is the power to feed their people and also power to defend their people. As we can see, many years back now, we've not been able to openly defend our people. I don't want to see that the people in Lagos State or Osun State are saying, well, what happened? People in Southern Kaduna, the people in Gobe, Yola, so they're also Nigerians. As far as I'm concerned, look at what calamity that been befalling them. So Nigeria is 60 years on, we can still not say we are able to protect lives and property. People cannot sleep. And
Thank you, because we want to go around, and then Nat, I will ask you in the next 2 minutes. I'll be asking you a question. The question will be on what are our specific problems. But before you answer that question, that is, we want to go, what are the specific problems? But before you answer that, let me recognize and invite Kenny, who has been raising up his hand. Kenny, where are you? What would you like to say, Kenny?
Hello, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thanks for having me. Thanks to Ben Television and everyone listening. I'm proud to be a Nigerian. I'm a woman, and I'm into politics, and I'm even studying politics here in the United Kingdom. My experience has been that now that things are on this level whereby the Vice President of Nigeria, in the person of our Professor Osinbajo. Hello, are you hearing me?
We're listening.
Sorry. Said that there are cracks. Truly, there are cracks. But the cracks is not just from now, but how do we move on? These cracks has been caused by Nigerians, whether the leaders, whereby our women have been left behind, like they are saying that women are in the other room. Meanwhile, we are about 50%, of the population. So if you lock your 50% in the other room, it's too. So then the agitations of the southeastern part of the country is high. Let's not deceive ourselves. And now the agitation for Yoruba nation, that is, is even abroad here is like everybody is, any Yorubas, I felt, but it doesn't work easily like that. I will have professed some solutions that we should recognize international platforms, especially those who married us together, that if we go like Yoruba Nation, Professor Akintoye has been going about, we should invite them, this Commonwealth, invite the EU, invite the US, all these big G7 platforms, so that they can, it won't just be mere talking or mere chaos later on. So if we can bring them in, that this is our, it's going to be a smooth ride, I am telling you. If they want to divide Nigeria into 6, into 4, or into 3, whatever, so that peace is what we want to achieve at the end of the day, because nobody wants to die. We are talking.
Kenny, can I ask you a question, please?
Yes, sir.
You said the Vice President said there are cracks, and indeed he said so. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation also said there are cracks, but you want us to mend the cracks, but I want to know the cracks first. Vice President did not tell us those cracks. The SGF did not tell us. We want to know the cracks from their own perspective. Otumba has managed to tell us the cracks from his own perspective. But these people did not tell us where the cracks are. Is it in the ethnic relationship? Is it in the lack of management of resources? Where are those cracks from their own end? We need to know. Or what do you say?
Okay. I'll give an example of me and you. We are abroad here. Yeah. I am telling you, no Nigerian, whether you are 70, 80-year-old, or you are just 18, that does not like Nigeria.
That's correct.
Is it in terms of weather? Is it in terms of the happiness? You greet people here, they turn their eyes. There's no, you know, all those culture. There's nobody that doesn't like Nigeria. We are just here, like fella said, you know, suffering and smiling. Fine, we can change the dollar, change the pound, change whatever. But when you lie down, you will remember the sunshine, the beauty, the culture, the how our the respect, you know, many things we are missing here, and we are getting older here. And even our children, can they, even those calling their Yoruba, can their children speak our language? So there are so many questions. Back home, we have reduced our obas, our kings and our chiefs into almost nothing or beggars. I am saying the truth. I went to Nigeria and I did politics. And when a governor says there's a meeting, come and see obas running, kings running. And I just
do you know why they run there? Do you know why they run there?
Yes, sir.
Not because they're going to be sacked, because envelopes are being distributed there.
Yeah, apart from the envelopes, these obas, they don't have functions. So that's why I say, if we want to call for a referendum or we'll call all these big pillars, you cannot do it without them. I'm telling you, I'm studying politics now. Call them. Let us invite all these Commonwealth leaders and say, oh, this is what we want. Please help us so that we don't want bloodshed. This is what you see. We copied the presidential system. The presidential system, or whatever system that we copy, does not recognize our chiefs or obas like that. They put sorry. So they put, sorry, let me translate. It's like you put where your head on the floor walking with it. The legs is up. That's the way I can see things. But if we have a referendum, or like the 2014 confab, or the 2005 whatever, let them bring them out, so that whether the northerners and the southerners, we can come together and dialogue and deliberate. If we want to go, then let us go freely, easily, perfectly.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like it happened in the Soviet Union, like it happened in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Nat, you've had Otumba and our sister Kenny. What are the specific challenges Nigeria is having, even at 60 years of age? Could you just help us enumerate a few and possibly give how to move on? Because tomorrow will be, we'll start the 61st year tomorrow. So maybe we could get something seriously said today.
Thank you very much. The first thing, which is more of a general broad line thing, is the issue of purposeful leadership, which we have lacked since independence. In 1960, if you look at the leaders who had, let me start with the North. The Sardauna of Sokoto was supposed to be the prime minister, but because he liked his Hura the Nono, he decided to remain in Kaduna and send a second 11 grade 2 teacher to be the prime minister, Tafawa Balewa. If you look at the East, Zik, when he was rejected by NCNC and Awolowo and his group, he went to the East. Opera will not welcome him. Then if you look at the East, Akintola had his problem with Awolowo. So the problem has been how do we build up the leadership that will give us a direction? we have this challenge, especially those who came immediately after the colonial masters left. They did the first republic political leaders. To some extent, there was level of discipline, there was level of content of character, and there was this appreciation that I'll give back to society what I benefited. But so when you now fast forward this, so the big challenge we have is the leadership. Shehu Shagari wanted to be a senator, but he found himself being the first executive president of Nigeria. And we know the challenges we had during that period. We now have, even within the military, those people who became military heads of state, they really didn't want to be there. The people who planned the coup are different from those who will be head of state or be governors. And then the issue of managing our diversity, because this issue of marginalization, this issue of the resources, the federal state resources are not getting to us, is the issue of good governance, is the issue of managing the cultural diversity of each region or the country as a whole. And we have an issue now where our national value is the naira or money. Money has become our national value. If you don't have money, you cannot talk. If you don't have money, nobody's ready to listen to you. If you don't have money, you cannot win even election in your ward, not to talk of your local government, state, and the federal. And so there's a mirage of challenges. And then we as the citizens and even part of leadership, we are living in denial. We have refused to recognize, to appreciate, and deal with some of these challenges. We're just smiling and suffering, like fella would say, suffering and smiling. We know our challenges, and if we are determined today that we want to solve these issues, solve these challenges, solve insecurity in Nigeria, we can. And if we have a government in place where everybody feels a sense of belonging, where resources are equitably distributed, and where individuals or ethnic groups don't lord it over everybody else, I think Nigeria will be a better place. And as we move forward,
Nat, I have one question for you.
Okay.
I know you and I, we can continue to critically examine the improper development in Nigeria. What are the great things that Nigeria have achieved between 1960 and now? I mean, maybe that's a good place to start.
You know, when you want to talk of achievement, or when you want to do a cost-benefit analysis, or you want those are basic things. You look at what resources have you had at your disposal. If you quantify the amount of resources, both human and material, and even let's put it cash or so, how have these resources been harnessed, and how have they related on the ground of what we call development? And above all, the issue of development is not even the infrastructure. It's not the second Niger bridge or Itakpe Warri rail or Abuja Kaduna rail. It is the quality of human lives. What Nigerians, even let's say 2 or 3 years ago, has the quality of their life improved? Have you been able to deliver basic health system to the people? Have you been able to deliver quality education to your people? So these are the things. You look at the oil resources. How have we spent our resources? Because that is the question. And you hear stories like the feeding that was supposed to be meant through COVID that money was diverted into 2-point-something billion naira into private accounts. So these are the questions and we need answers.
Okay.
These are the areas.
Thank you, Nat. Let me ask Godson the same question. We know we have challenges in Nigeria, but what are the areas of our achievements and how can we improve on those achievements? Godson.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. In my view, the only area of achievement in Nigeria is the area of developing and manufacturing corruption. That is the greatest area of achievement Nigerians have achieved.
That's
because
not an achievement.
The manner and way in which corruption is being manufactured and remanufactured and redesigned is the greatest invention. The greatest invention in Nigeria is that corruption.
How about the creation of the federal capital?
Whether it's in public or in private sector, whether it is in faith or in tradition, corruption has become an element of manufacturing. You go to the political people, they are corrupt. You go to the bankers and the financial institutions, they are corrupt. You go to the insurance people, they are corrupt. You go to lawyers, even ordinary lawyers that should be defending the fate of the ordinary masses are corrupt. You go to the judges who are supposed to even decide the hope of the ordinary man against the bourgeois. They are corrupt. You go to those who are supposed to even police the ordinary man. They are corrupt. You go to those who are supposed to police the boundaries of the country against national interventions and threats. They are corrupt. You go to the traditional rulers who are supposed to be the upholders of tradition and culture, saying the truth. Because when you lie, the gods of the land will knock you down. Today, they have destroyed the gods of the land. The traditional rulers are more corrupt than even the gods of the land. Because they even ask you for ogogoro and chicken. They will kill it and go and eat it. There is no God to eat that chicken and goat and ogogoro to drink. So the corruption manufacture, that's the only greatest development in Nigeria, corruption. How can we destroy this development of corruption? That is the only answer. How do we destroy the only manufacturing industry of corruption in Nigeria? So that the ordinary man will know that hard work pays. The ordinary man will know that going to school makes an end. The ordinary man will know that trading in chocolate and trading in pencil and chalk will give you a future in life. Today, in Nigeria, even ordinary hawker is thinking of becoming a millionaire in 24 hours by hawking orange. The corruption is the greatest development in Nigeria. How do we destroy that developed culture in Nigeria to make a way for Nigeria? And this has been the case. You find out that from 1957 to date, most of our political leaders and our nationalist leaders, they fought one hand for Nigerian freedom. With the other hand, they were claiming lands all over the places. Awolowo, Zeke, all own lands almost everywhere in Nigeria. Everywhere they go, they take a land. Everywhere they go, they take a land. Everywhere they go, they take some national things without paying for it. Without paying no penny, without nothing. They own properties all over the place in the name of nationalism, in the name of nationalist agenda. They started this whole corruption. They started it in a different way, and people build upon it. You find out that in the early 70s, when oil became a booming industry globally, Gowon openly went to Nigeria and said that there is too much money, we don't know what to do with it. The civil servants started stealing. Corruption in civil service started with Gowon's government. When civil servants begin to realize there's enough way to eat money, today, there are more billionaire civil servants than there are politicians. The only fact is that people are not looking into it. There are more wealthy civil servants than even politicians because they are the one. Because, to be honest, you do not go to steal in a man's house if somebody does not tell you that the man has the money in the house. You can't enter my compound just because you see it's a big house. You just assume there's money in the house. What if it's a big house? There is not even one single person living there. All the various PAMSECs and DGs that have served this country in various ministries, in various MDAs, in various parastatals, are the source of all the greatest money looting and corruptions that is going on in Nigeria.
How about the military? How about the military? How about the military? Are they corrupt?
Even the military. Even the military. How does an animal know that 2 plus 2 can become 4, or 2 plus 2 minus 1 can become 0? The military doesn't know. It's the palm cells that run the ministries that those military people came to meet, that they use to loot our money. The greatest looters in our industry are public servants. Our civil servants, they are the greatest looter. There is some civil servants you go today in Nigeria, they own estates that they cannot imagine. You cannot imagine, even if he works for 50 years after pension, he cannot even own such a single house. But he owns estates in Abuja, owns estates in Kogi, owns estates in Ibadan, owns estates. A civil servant, a DG. You understand? We need to be honest and truthful about the situation in Nigeria. Both at the state level, at the local level, you find out, you go to even ordinary local government, the treasurer of a local government, we own a house that even the governor himself will be wondering, how did that man build that house in a local government? It's terrible.
Okay. I have 2 questions for you. One, will you say that because you are centered on the public servants, probably you are right, but will you say that the government that has come mainly to oppose corruption has done so effectively so far?
Unfortunately, you cannot fight corruption with corruption. There is nowhere in the world you can fight corruption with corruption. The simple thing is that you cannot police corrupt elements with corrupt-minded people also. You need people with clean hands. You say that he that has a clean hand comes before equity. This government has chosen people that have dirty, soiled, oil hand in system. How can they oppose the corrupt mechanisms that are already existing in the system? No, it is not possible. We hear of somebody, Nat just said that the money for school feeding, out of which government has released, you release it to the people you know that they will not do anything with it. Who went and put that money in private account? It's a civil servant. If you tell very well, it's the director level 14 or level 15 boy. Something happened in SDG's office, the Sustainable Development Goal under the presidency. They released 20-something billion for that department. Only for, 71 billion to that department. Only for a seconded officer from the office of the federal, the accountant general to that department to work with the special advisor to the president. Take 24 billion of that money and put in his own private account. 24 billion of that money put in his own private account. That money yielded so much money that when the people who gave him the order to put the money in his account retrieve the money, the commission he got for himself was 1.8 billion. Can you imagine? 1.8 billion. This is just ordinary level 12 man, level 12. Tomorrow he will be driving Jeep, own houses everywhere, building his village, level 12. He hasn't even gotten to 14, 15, where he'll be thinking retirement. So you said that the system and those managing the system are indebted to corruption and immune to corruption. And even Osibajo himself, Osibajo is suffering the immunity of corruption. And that is why he is finding it difficult to exonerate himself from the system. Because Osibajo by now, in good faith, understanding the crack Osibajo is talking about is the level of corruption, social and economic corruption. He understands that is happening in this same government he is part of. The only way a just man with a sense of religious belonging would do is to hands up, surrender, and say, I have seen it all. It is better I die than live and be bearing this curse in my head. By now, Osibajo should have declared to he should not just say it in the mouth that is crack. He knows the crack. And the crack is very obvious. Social and economic corruption in the system.
Let me just announce again.
Immune and indemnity.
Let me announce again that if you are in the Zoom, thank you, Azu. Let me announce again, if you are in the Zoom and you want to participate, just raise up your hand. Azu, where do you think we will be in 2023? I mean, are we going to have election? Will there be a country called Nigeria? Do you think we will be Yoruba World Congress will have become a nation, the Odua nation? Do you think IPOC Biafra will become a nation? Do you think the Middle Belt country will have become a nation, as we are hearing? Will we have Arewa nation? That, as someone said, look, you don't have to be, you don't have to go to war to separate. You can just quietly, gently separate, like it happened in Soviet Union. Now you have so many people, so many countries from the old Soviet Union, at least not less than 10 countries. They just move away, countries like Ukraine and all of that. So do you think, what do you say for 2023?
Yeah, thank you, Doc. 2023, before anything happens, the Igbo should be given the opportunity to run Nigeria like others. That is our joy. Why am I saying this? Others cannot ruin the country that we all undertook the pain and sufferings and then decide to break it when it is the turn of the Igbos. May the gods of the lands of Nigeria curse everyone that decided that to be the case. Why have I said so? One, when Obasanjo came to power at the expense and the means of Muritala, the only joy Obasanjo had was to play what I still call compensatory politics. Compensatory politics. The only way Obasanjo worked together with others to deny Awolowo becoming the president of Nigeria in 1979 was to allow Shagari and NPM come to government in order to compensate for the loss of Muritala to the north. Okay. That case has remained a dominant case in the way Nigerian politics has been going.
So in one sentence,
hold on, Chairman, hold on. In 1999, the North, in order to appease the Southwest, in order to appease the Yoruba people, in order to appease and to also commemorate Obasanjo for what he did for them in 1979, they denied Ogbonnayonu APP to be the candidate of APP and brought Olufalaye on APP. They denied Alex Ekweme, the candidates of PDP, and brought Obasanjo from prison and reverberated him, equipped him and put injection in his body from the US and then made him human and then posted him to candidate of PDP. That is another compensatory politics that I'm saying. Come again, 2007. Obasanjo played another third compensatory politics. In order to compensate for his friend that died in prison, that they arrested two of them together during Abacha reign, Shehu Yaradua. He went beyond every other person's view and picked Musa Yaradua, whom he knew very well that was not healthy enough to run a country. He picked in order to appease the North for giving him the favor to come back to power. Also to appease for his friend Shehu Yaradua that died in the course of their agitation for democracy during Abacha's time. Please, that is another compensatory politics to give the North power to the North back. Unfortunately, we had an accidental president. Accidental president came into the view. The South now had the opportunity to run to become president. And then, in order for the North to complete their tenure of office that Yaradua did not complete, politics played himself again, and now we have the same system of compensatory politics to allow the North to complete their 8 years. PDP presented Atiku. APC brought Buhari again. Have these people not completed their terms in office? We have 3 key major ethnic groups in Nigeria: the Yorubas, the Igbos, and the Hausas.
Nobody is stopping wait a minute, nobody is stopping an Igbo man from contesting.
No, they are stopping. They are stopping. We are watching them. They are stopping. They are stopping.
Ezekwesili contested.
They are stopping.
Moghalu contested.
They are stopping. The contestation has already started. The maneuvering and the discourse is already going on, and some people are dictating.
All right. Because of time, let me quickly move to
what I'm saying is that 2023, government, the Nigerian people should understand
Gosin,
that Igbos has a right. They should give us a chance. If they don't, then the international community will find a very big job to do in Nigeria from 2023. Thank you very much.
Okay. But Otuba, please, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Well, I as much as I want to subscribe to all what he's saying, he has been talking about the effects, the side effects of the
Oh, Otumba, we can't hear you anymore.
On a drawing board and then rearrange, reappraise, and readdress what the problems, what are the clog in the wheels of success of continuing Nigerian project. And looks like some are listening, some are not listening. And my only fear is if we don't do anything about it, what will happen may not be very good, might not be what we want. So again, I want to insist that it is high time. I hope restructuring arrangement will still go down well with some Nigerians, especially the Southwest and the Middle Belt and so on. I hope so. But if it's still possible, I think it cannot go beyond 2023 because as things are, I'm hearing that some people also from the north, let me be specific here, still want to run for presidency. And the question is for presidency of Nigeria. There are other zones that have not, that still that can run. So, and I hope I'm not sitting down here stoking flame or whatever, that it is better that we agree now. And I also want to suggest whoever want to run for 2023 from those areas that are now they're supposed to take advantage of it should make promise.
Let me ask you a question, Otumba. One quick question. Do you think all the parties? Do you think all the parties should just bring an Igbo presidential candidate because an Igbo man should become the president of 2023? Otumba, are you still with me?
Well, again, there's a process and process. Yeah, I'm with you. There's a hello.
Yes,
can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah. There's a process and yes, the procedure as to how the nomination, the declaration, and so on of who the next president is going to be. All I'm saying is I want to leave it to Southeast and Southwest. If they can come out, agree among themselves to come up with a unifying candidate. I have nothing against it. The only thing I have against it, I'm saying it openly. No Northerner. And I'm sorry, no Northerner should even dare to want to be president of Nigeria if Nigeria is still there.
That would be unconstitutional. That would be unconstitutional. That would be unconstitutional, Otuma.
Unfortunately, I don't know which one you are referring to, whether it is 79, 63, or 1999 constitution.
The 1999 constitution has amended.
Nigeria has been ruled the last couple of years.
Okay. I think I have one more question. Please, sorry, I'm sorry to cut in. We have only very few minutes. Between 0 and 60, 0 being the worst of mark, 60 being the best, Nigeria being 60 tomorrow. Now, where will you put Nigeria? 0 is the worst mark you can give, nada. The 60 is the highest mark. 30 is the pass mark. What will you give Nigeria in terms of development?
Yeah, I understand. I don't want to be unnecessary, unreasonable. 10, between 10 and 15 would be the highest mark I want to give Nigeria.
Out of 50.
Judging from, yeah, you said 30 is pass mark, yeah?
Yes,
they don't even, judging from what I have said earlier on in terms of there's no achievement there to write home about.
Okay.
And that is the truth. And that is for me.
No, Otuba, the time is gone. Dr. Akindele, how are you? Nat, out of 0, between 0 and 60, what will you give Nigeria? 30%, 30 mark is the pass mark?
25.
25. Godson, what will you give Nigeria in 60 years, 60 marks? 30 is the pass mark. What will you give Nigeria?
I give Nigeria 15 for attempting. You know, when you are writing exam, at least for writing few sentences, the examiner will say at least you are attempted to write. Not that you know what you are doing, or you are attempted to write. 15%.
Okay.
Attempting to make it way.
If you want to say something, what will you give Nigeria out of 60? I know you've not raised your hand, but I'm just trying to see if I can pull your leg. Anyway, that's a
what out of 100 or out of 60?
Out of 60, 30 marks being the pass mark.
Okay, I think I'll give them 35 for now. Sorry, guys.
35 or 25?
I just had a new grandson born early this morning, so I didn't sleep.
Sorry. Hallelujah. Congratulations.
I wish it was born tomorrow. I wish it was born tomorrow. It would be an Independence Day boy.
Oh,
but anyway,
my word.
Congratulations, dog. You can call him.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You have two possible names to call him. Either Joe Biden or
maybe pre-60.
Nigeria will be great.
Thank you very much, everybody. That's how far we can go today on You Decide. The program has been You Decide, and we give you presentation of facts and analysis, but you decide what pass mark you want to give Nigeria. Until next Wednesday, when we bring the best of discussions again. My name is Shegun Johnson, and you've been watching Penn Television.
God bless Nigeria.
Congratulations, Doctor.
Thank you.
Send me my wine.